Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from Bhagavad-gītā As It Is, Chapter 18, Text 68 and 69, The Perfection of Renunciation. Everyone has a book? Ya idang paramanguyang. Ya idang paramanguyang. Madbhateshu abhidhasyati. Bhakting mai parankritva. Mame vaishyatya saṅśayah. Ya, anyone who, idam, this, paramam, most, guyam, confidential secret, mat, of mine, bhakteshu, amongst devotees, abhidasyati, explains, bhaktim, devotional service, mai, unto me, param, transcendental, kritva, doing, mam, unto me, eva, certainly, eshyati, comes, asaṅśayah, without doubt. Translation, purport by His Divine Grace, by śraṇaṁ Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. For one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he'll come back to me. Responsively, for one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed. And at the end, he'll come back to me. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Generally, it is advised that Bhagavad-gītā be discussed amongst the devotees only. For those who are not devotees will understand neither Kṛṣṇa nor Bhagavad-gītā. Those who do not accept Kṛṣṇa as he is and Bhagavad-gītā as it is should not try to explain Bhagavad-gītā whimsically and become offenders. Bhagavad-gītā should be explained to persons who are ready to accept Kṛṣṇa as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is a subject matter for the devotees only and not for philosophical speculators. Anyone, however, who tries sincerely to present Bhagavad-gītā as it is will advance in devotional activities and reach the pure devotional state of life. As a result of such pure devotion, he is sure to go back home, back to Godhead. The next verse, very famous verse. Nacha tasman manusheshu kaschin me priyakritamaha bhavita nacha me tasmad anya priyataro bhuvi. There's no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtaṃ Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Hare Krishna. So this is the 18th chapter, Perfection of Renunciation. And this verse in particular is describing about giving this knowledge of Bhagavad-Gita to the devotees and not to give it to philosophical speculators, because there are so many who want to take advantage of the well-known Bhagavad-Gita, the glorious Bhagavad-Gita. Many editions are there, and everyone wants to put their comments and try to relate it to whether it's a doctor and his patient, or, you know, it could be many different things. So in this world, people are totally lost and confused as to what is the purpose and goal in life. Bhagavad-Gita is the shining light which is actually awakening or opening our eyes from this darkness and confusion. And the Lord's in the heart of everyone, along with the spirit soul, because this body, this bag of bones and skin and blood, we call the body. There are many, many bodies, but every living body is animated by the jiva, the spirit soul. Just yesterday my clock was not working, it was stuck. Took the battery out, put a new battery in, back to life it came. So when that spirit soul, due to destiny, due to karma, due to our desire, when we're finished with this vehicle, we're forced into another body. Dehinosmin yata dehe komarang yovanang jara tata dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namuyati. One who is sober, dhiras, he understands that the body is a temporary vehicle for the spirit soul, but human life is very rare. There are many, many living entities everywhere. Bugs, creatures, demigods, aquatics, pigs, dogs, camels, asses, all kinds of living entities. And every one of those living entities is Satchidananda, eternal, full of bliss, full of knowledge. A spiritualist is supposed to see everything equally. Everything is part of God. The whole material manifestation was created by God. The spiritual world exists eternally, although the temporary material manifestation comes into being by God's will, and Kṛṣṇa wanting to have a variety of enjoyment. He simply glances over material nature and all the living entities are impregnated. So Kṛṣṇa expands himself in many ways because Kṛṣṇa has unlimited potencies, omnipotent, omniscient. He knows everything. All his senses are transcendental. And because of love, he comes repeatedly in this material world, all the worlds, all the universes, and he's giving guidance in the form of Vedic knowledge. So just imagine the Lord expands himself as Balaram, then expands himself as Sankarshan, then Mahavishnu, Karanadakshay Vishnu, then Garbhodakshay Vishnu, then Kshirodakshay Vishnu. So the Lord's expanding because it's unlimited living beings and everyone has different desires. We can't say, well, why is it that Nitya Siddhas are eternally loving Kṛṣṇa and not forgetting Kṛṣṇa? How is it that the Nitya Buddhas, those who have somehow deviated or forgotten Kṛṣṇa and got ourselves entangled in this material world, how is it that this happened like that? This is the multitude of Kṛṣṇa's independence, Swarat. He's totally independent. We have minute independence. And the experiences that we've experienced, we may see them as, oh, horrible, why is it I'm forced to suffer in this material world? Because we're individuals and we have these desires. And everyone in this material world is desirous, and mostly because of ignorance, being driven by passion and ignorance, people are looking after money and sense gratification, the higher planetary systems, whether it's through religion or economic development. And then when one is frustrated in this material world in his attempts to build a golden stairway to heaven, and Lanka, just Ravana, how powerful he was. He made tunnels, they say, from Brazil, and brought tons of gold, and the whole city was built out of gold, shining, glittering. So much opulence can be had in the heavenly planets, beautiful gardens and beautiful, means of enjoyment. But that this material world is such that once your pious activities are exhausted, once you've spent all your money, you are forced back to the lower planetary systems. Again, to be embodied in another awkward situation, trying to figure out where is that happiness, where is that everlasting peace and joy. So Bhagavad-gītā has been introduced to us, and it depends on how we take it. Just like Srila Prabhupada was very much aware of the symptoms of Kali Yuga, how people are very slow in spiritual advancement, very eager for a good fight, very much troubled by their mind and senses. And because of this entanglement, one doesn't have the ability to study the Vedic literatures like the Chatusha, the four Kumaras, or the great philosophers. And even if one, with his own intellectual attempts, tries to study philosophical teachings and try to come to a conclusion, what is the truth, even then, it is extremely difficult to find your way through the dense forest of mental gymnastics and speculations. So, the fourth chapter, this Tadvidi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya Upadekshanti Te Jnanam Jnana Sattva-darshana. We're all looking for truth, we're looking for knowledge, how to get freed from our mind and senses, how to get freed from the repetition of birth and death. So Prabhupada, very scientifically and intelligently, inspired by Kṛṣṇa, by Guru, he he manifested Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's wish that Jare Dako Tare Kaho Kṛṣṇa Upadesha, Maragai Guru Hoy Tare Desh. The Lord is recognized as Namo Mahavadanyaya Kṛṣṇa Prema Pradayate, because previously the processes of speculation and different levels of realization may have been there in different rasas, relationships with God, as das, as a servant of God, friend of God, parent of God. But this madhurya, this loving, the love that we're looking for, Lord Chaitanya, even though it's the most fallen age, and we are patita pavana, we're very fallen because we're born in this material world, but at the same time we're very fortunate, somehow, whether it's due to our pious activities, mainly due to our good fortune, that Srila Prabhupada, carrying that magnanimous mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he underwent the yajna, the austerity, just like in the Christian world, they pray to Lord Jesus, he suffered for our sins, and so just believe in him and he'll save you. So Srila Prabhupada showed by his exemplary behavior of dedication to Guru. Although he didn't want to take sannyas, he found it very, how can I leave my family, or how can I take this? But still, despite the fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as a young man, had a wonderful mother, so many friends, beautiful wife. But in order to spread this message out of compassion for the suffering conditioned souls, he took the sannyas order, because in Vedic culture, there's respect given to the sannyasi. So Srila Prabhupada, as a sannyasi, came to the Western world as ordered by his spiritual master to preach. So we may think, well, this is not condoned in this verse, that we're freely giving, like in an open audience, all kinds of people may be there. And not everyone is inclined to be a devotee or understand God in a loving, devotional attitude that's being described here, that only devotees can understand Kṛṣṇa. The non-devotees of ajanati mang mudha manushing tanu mashritang parang bhavama jananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. That Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Lord, and when he takes a form, a jopi son of Yatma, in the human form, that people criticize that, oh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was just an avatar. I mean, he was just an exceptionally powerful saint, and Lord Ramachandra, historical figure. Lord Kṛṣṇa, you know, he was born in Mathura, Vrindavan, and he became famous for, you know, some fairy tale stories. So the demonic and those who are non-devotees, they want to see God bring them down to the human level, that just to justify that there is no God, we can do whatever we want to do. You know, there's freedom, there's no God in charge, and the whole world is only meant, it happened by chance, and so many philosophies are existing there. But the idea of book distribution, I remember when I came to Miami Temple, everyone was saying, oh, book distribution, this is a real way of making rapid advancement in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So where everyone's looking for how to make rapid advancement. So we're following the rules and regulations of spiritual life. We're hearing Bhagavad-gītā in the classes. We're reading Bhagavad-gītā, Srimad Bhagavatam. And it says the more we read Bhagavad-gītā, the more we read Srimad Bhagavatam, our realizations become deeper. You know, some do, oh, I've read Gita 5 times, 10 times. You can read it 100 times, 1,000 times. The realization is coming from Kṛṣṇa by your surrender and your devotion. And so this Sankirtan means the glorification of the Lord, or giving others the opportunity to also have this opportunity of awakening their spiritual life. It's a challenge because everyone is comfortable in their own space. The fear of lecturing in front of others, or confronting someone to give them something which they're not inclined to accept, is intimidating. You know, the mind is telling, like, I remember the first time I was out, I think it was in the summer of '76 on Sankirtan, and you're in the street and I'm thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing out here? Bag full of magazines, and you know, how we had Back to Godhead magazines at the time we were mainly doing. And then we were working the airports and the ports and the streets. And every day it was a challenge to actually beat the mind to some degree. But there was that sense of duty and obligation to Srila Prabhupada, spiritual master, that we have some faith, you know, a little shraddha, that faith that this knowledge of Kṛṣṇa consciousness is the only saving grace for all of humanity. That any endeavor, any work, any austerity performed in this world, all the so-called accomplishments are meaningless without coming to Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Because when this body is finished, all the hard work of this body is also finished. So if we utilize our energy and strength to go and try to spread this message of Kṛṣṇa consciousness, following the orders of Prabhupada. We've heard some classes lately because it's the marathon time, book distribution. And by going out on book distribution, Kṛṣṇa is happy. Not only Lord Chaitanya, he's not asking, he's commanding everyone that you go out and you preach Kṛṣṇa consciousness. This is your duty. And it just like if you see everyone, this is my brothers, my sisters, we're all family, and you see someone is walking, he's going to fall off the cliff and fall down in the hard rocks and be destroyed, and you're going to sit there and watch him. So this is not very a person of a broad consciousness. I was just seeing something that there was one lady, she was pregnant, she was carrying some bags trying to go somewhere, and everyone she asked for help, they just kind of brushed her off and walked off. And these two soldiers came and they practically picked her up. And so it was a sense of duty, of civilized human life. So we have to have that sense of duty to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the whole Panchatattva, that this teaching of Bhagavad-Gita is wonderful, and I want to be an instrument to help spread this message of Krishna consciousness. And by spreading, and the way to get that strength, the formula is there, how to keep the battery charged. You rise early in the morning, regulation is very important. Chanting the holy names of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And this is our most important service, chanting the Lord's names with feeling of somehow I fall into this ocean of suffering. Please pick me up from this repeated birth and death and engage me as one of your servants. And by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-Gita regularly, it's a cleansing process. Cheto darpana marjanam, bhava mahadevagni nirvapanam, that they have to clean the heart. It's not just simply by our own endeavor, but that inspiration that we're getting to do the right thing, that yes, like we're all sitting here in the Bhagavad-Gita class. It took a little bit of effort, isn't it? You have to get ready and it's time for the class. I got to go to sit down, or time for the artik. I need to be there to do this. It's not just ritualistic. This is a personal relationship with Kṛṣṇa. As we reciprocate with Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa responds, reciprocates. It's not that Kṛṣṇa is just some imaginary figure and everything just going on its own. That if we want to have a personal relationship with someone, if you show them love and attention, they'll reciprocate. If you ignore somebody, they ignore you. If you're friendly with people, despite the fact that they might not be so inclined, that's still, it's a positive. That people, when they were watching the book distributors or those who are on the Sankirtan, they were just so enlivened to constantly meet people and talk to people. And as the book or the exchange is taking place and the day goes on, you become addicted. That it's almost time to go. No, a few more books. I have a few more books. Before, you didn't even want to start. You thought, oh, how am I going to, be out there and talking to so many people? But the Lord, Kṛṣṇa, in our heart, He's giving us the intelligence how to maneuver and how to do what needs to be done. And that what needs to be done is the preaching of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. People are suffering tremendously. We see it all around us. It's not like just something we have to read in the books. The reality of material world is a place of birth, old age, disease, and death. And we see last year, especially in India and Delhi, the people are lined up in the funeral pyres and all over the hospitals, and it's happening regularly all over the world. Pandemic, disease, earthquakes, disasters. So Kṛṣṇa potency, it's not that he had to, when Kṛṣṇa came fighting so many demons, it's not like, well, why don't Kṛṣṇa just come and straighten everything right out? Because we're all individuals, karmana daivana trena, and we're all living our lives according to our desires. And Kṛṣṇa, through the agency of material nature, is providing us the appropriate mother and father, whether in human species or other species, and everything is just going on in its own way. But yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutangang adharmatya tadatmanang sajamyaham. Whenever there's a decline in religious practice, At that time, Kṛṣṇa descends himself. So many incarnations, and each one has a purpose, whether to save the demigods, relieve Mother Bhumi from all the kings who are not representing God and who are abusing their powers. The monarchy is supposed to guide the citizens. The ideal government should protect the citizens and make sure that everyone is following their dharma. You know, Prabhupada was very much promoting this varnashram dharma, which is created by Kṛṣṇa, because in every society there's an intellectual class, there's an administrative class, there's a productive class, and there's a worker class. It's just a natural function, just like the body has the head, the arms, the belly, the legs. And in order for the body to function, it's necessary. And then different orders of life in human life, that preparation, that human life is meant for a purpose, not like the billboards or the TV and radio advertisements tell us that, you know, by giving in to the scientists' inventions, thinking that the more gadgets and the more comforts they can provide to the body, that this is the higher perfection of life, that let me work really hard so I can get that nice car, the nice house, the nice watch, the nice clothes, all the different little toys which are available due to modern scientific advancement and technology, which everything is destroyed in a flash, in an instant, without living the natural life of God consciousness and being trained in this varnashram system, the Vedic understanding of God, you know, who is Kṛṣṇa, who is God, how everything was created, how this body is temporary, and how the spirit soul is dwelling within this body, and having this struggle with the mind, having to struggle with the senses and the desires. Everyone has different ideas and thoughts, you know, and generally it goes around how to enjoy, how to be happy, whether it's good things to eat or people to enjoy or things to thinking if I have all these things then I'll be happy. There may be some temporal happiness, you know, that one who's born in a rich family, one who's born in a highly elevated family is considered, oh, you know, that this person's performed pious activities, this person had accumulated due to his good behavior or performance of sacrifice. He's been given an opportunity to take advantage, more advantage. But imagine if you're on the street just struggling just to survive, or a place to sleep, or looking for food, and you know, it's more of a struggle. But if you have the good fortune of coming in contact with a pure devotee in the form of these books, just by touching the books, just by a slight advancement, little advancement on the path of devotional service can save one from the most dangerous type of fear, which is repetition of birth and death. Because once we fall back into that cycle of birth and death, we have no clue where we'll end up, how long we'll be transmigrating in various forms throughout this universe. Multiple universes are there. Mother Nature is very, very complex. But and to achieve the human form of life and to get the association of a guru is a very rare thing. Many, many people following different philosophies, performing different austerities and sacrifices, and being guided by materialistic. What are the four defects? Imperfect senses, tendency to be illusion, sure to commit mistakes, and cheating propensity. So with those wonderful ornaments of the material existence, how you can get proper guidance in life. The scientists, I remember even when I was in school, that they said, oh, the last 10, 15 years of our scientific research is finished by this new discovery. It's like, it becomes a little bit disheartening to think that people are just speculating. It could be, maybe, perhaps. This is not the Vedic. This is not how the Vedas. They say exactly how things are functioning, how we are put into the cycle of birth and death due to neglect of improper use of our minute independence and giving up our mood of Jivera Swarupa Krishna Nityadas. We're Krishna's eternal servant. Everybody's Krishna's eternal servant. Ekale Ishwar Krishna Arsa Britya. Krishna is the only Supreme Master, the Supreme Lord of everyone. Even Lord Balaram is serving Krishna. Yashodananda is serving Krishna. Srimati Radharani is serving. Everybody's serving Krishna. And Srimati Radharani is non-different than Krishna. Balaram is non-different than Krishna. We're also non-different than Krishna. So everything is Krishna. It's all one, but it's individual. Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. This knowledge of being simultaneously one with Krishna, but separate with Krishna. It's not that once we've realized I'm eternal, I'm Brahman, that I'm eternal, Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha, and then once that realization matures, then I merge into that supreme eternal. This is not accepted in the Vaishnava philosophy, that individuality remains, whether you are elevated to the heavenly planets or by following the teachings of Bhagavad-gītā, Srimad Bhagavatam, sincerely chanting, whether one even goes to Vaikuntha, that's an eternal existence, or go back to Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan, the spiritual kingdom, and that Goloka Vrindavan has unlimited loving servants of the Lord, has unlimited variety. We shouldn't tax our brain trying to figure out the whole existence in the spiritual world, but we should know it's very blissful, it's eternal, ever existing, very joyful. And any kind of happiness and experience that we've experienced is only a slight little glimmer, because everything in this world ultimately, if it's not related to Krishna, or Krishna is not in the center, it turns sour. It may seem pleasurable and exciting at first that I'm going to take on new adventure. I just got out of school, gonna make some money, get married, have children. I'll show people how to be successful in life. But what is that success that people are looking for? The real success is eternality. I want to stop the suffering in this world and stop being forced and forgetting Krishna. So this is the opportunity being afforded by Didati Pratigranati Guya Makyati Prichati, that we're exchanging, we're revealing our mind confidentially, we're hearing confidentially about Krishna, about the process of devotional service, about how to be enthusiastic, utsan nishchayattaryatatat karma parvartanat, enthusiastic, determined, and avoiding those things by avoiding the association of those who are materialistic, licentious, those who are only interested in sense gratification. Asatsanga tyaga vaishnavachar. So the association of man is understood by his company, what kind of person he is. Gangsters hang out with gangsters, criminals hang out with criminals, devotees hang out with devotees, because we're not interested in the temporary illusion. We've seen that. We've been there, done that. Okay, the mind's giving trouble. Everybody's mind gives trouble. Senses are giving trouble. Everybody's senses gives trouble. But by constant practice and detachment, meaning the practice is hearing about Krishna, hearing the Krishna book, the beautiful stories of Krishna, his birth, his activities as a child, his pastimes. We're hearing, right now we're in 10th canto, how Krishna, killed Putana and killed Trinavarta, Agasura, and then Lord Brahma comes to try to show his powers, that, I'm Brahma, the four-headed Brahma. And Krishna, just to tease him, told the doorman, which Brahma was that? Four-headed Brahma. What do you mean? Which Brahma? And then Kṛṣṇa, is there more Brahmas? And Kṛṣṇa just by his desire, unlimited Brahmas from all the universes came with unlimited heads. So it's like, and Brahma felt like a little mosquito in the midst of huge elephants. So we're very minute, very tiny, but also, we're also like that, you don't reject the gold earring or the gold ring because it may not be the same as the gold mine, but it's still the same quality, has the same, that, even the drop of the ocean, it has the same qualities as the ocean. So we're that little spark. We're not the big blazing fire. Krishna is the blazing fire. And all us little sparks are the molecular sun rays from the sunshine. We're part of the sunshine, we're part of the rays, but we're just a little part. We should play our little part. And so by being enthusiastic, I had the opportunity to go on book distribution, spent many years in Miami Airport, about 20 years in Miami Airport. And we started with Back to Godhead magazines, and then we had some big book distributors give us a nice, inspiring classes, so I started big book distribution in Miami. We even trained up Vijay, the Sankirtan minister. So this book distribution is like we have a war against Maya. And these are the bombs, the transcendental bombs, because they destroy people's illusion, they destroy people's misunderstanding, they destroy the ignorance and the passion which has them chained to this material world. And the Bhagavad-Gītā is liberating. Srimad Bhagavatam is truly liberating. And you think, well, that's easy, just hearing Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavad-Gītā, chant Hare Krishna, take lots of prasad, stay in the association, it's easy. But the mind is disturbing. And the mind's been a big problem for us. And we are the mind. It's a reflection of our desires. It's not like just some separate entity that's maliciously deviating us at every opportunity. It's based on our own in-heart desires that the mind has become manifest. The false ego has become manifest. Our false identification of who we are. Oh, this is my family, this is my nation, this is my spiritual society. There's a lot of misunderstanding and misidentification, but das, anudas, I'm the servant of the servant of the servant. And that's very glorious, isn't it? Imagine the direct servant of Srila Prabhupada. They tell their stories and everybody's enthralled or enthusiastic to hear more and more. Imagine the personal secretary or servant of Mr. Modi. Ooh, big man, So, not that we want to be the big man by being a servant. We always want to maintain that humble service attitude. But we should be very humble, just like Prabhupada said that when the ladies were on book distribution, they were very, very powerful, like tiger. But, at home, we should be very, what is this saying?
Like a lamb.
Like a lamb, very, very soft and gentle. Lion and lamb.
Lion on chase, lamb at home.
That's right. And the chase is chasing down the confused, conditioned souls. But obviously, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So many times, in our efforts to distribute Krishna consciousness, we may meet opposing elements, people who are just not interested, or they're downright offensive. So you avoid them. Oh, you get so many people who want to tell you their philosophy or their religion. That's very nice. Oh, yes. Okay, we just go on. We have simple faith. The beautiful story that Prabhupada told many times is that South Indian Brahmana who was illiterate, but he was instructed by his Guru Maharaj that you read Bhagavad-Gītā every day. And his friends were mocking him, Brahmana, what kind of reading you're doing? They knew he was illiterate. He didn't pay attention. But Lord Chaitanya, when he saw, and he said that I see sometimes you're crying. He said, yeah, when I understand that Kṛṣṇa taking the position of serving his devotee, the charioteer just makes me cry. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced him that you've understood Bhagavad-Gītā. that Kṛṣṇa, He's out of love and compassion, He in our heart is guiding us. He's sending the spiritual master. He's repeatedly coming, and He leaves this Bhagavad-gītā, and the beautiful Bhagavatam was orchestrated by Kṛṣṇa. That Parikshit Maharaj, he was an emperor of the whole world. He had great opulence, youth, beauty, so much. Anything that anybody could want, he had everything. But he understood within 7 days, I have to leave this body. Prabhupada said, we don't know when we're leaving this body. Could be 7 days, 7 minutes, 7 years, 70 years. The fact is that we should take it very, very seriously, that we have to leave this material world. And while we have the human form of life and the developed intelligence, we should purify our mind, we should purify our intelligence by the very simple process of śravanam, kirtanam, Vishnu. Hearing and chanting. The more we hear about Kṛṣṇa and the more we chant, the more we want to give to others. And if the opportunity is not there that you can do direct book distribution, just by controlling the mind, use your legs to walk to the temple, use your hands to join the kirtan, use your lips to chant the holy name, and use your ears to hear the glories of Kṛṣṇa, the glories of the devotees of the Lord, and the beautiful efforts of relieving the anxieties of others. Vasudeva Datta is noted for his compassion, that, Lord, please free everybody, give everyone liberation. If you feel that they've committed such sinful activities, let me suffer for them. And Lord Chaitanya said, he appreciated that sentiment. Haridas Thakur, Lord Nityananda, all the great acharyas, the 6 Goswamis, they've dedicated their lives to bring Vrindavan, to bring Radhakund, Shyamakund, Govardhan, Krishna's pastimes to the forefront, so that we're attracted. Because we'll never be attracted unless we see how Kṛṣṇa is loving reciprocation with his friends, with his mother and Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, Vasudeva Devaki, different relationships, the gopis, Srimati Radharani, and all the beautiful activities the Lord is performing. And by the process of association with devotees, hearing, chanting, wanting to spread this message of Kṛṣṇa consciousness, we're developing a relationship with Kṛṣṇa, a personal relationship. We're developing a relationship with Srila Prabhupada, because he reasons ill who tell that Vaishnavas die when thou are still living in sound. And while living, spread the holy name around. Sorry, I didn't get that totally right, but the pure devotees are everlastingly existing in their teachings, in their words. And Srila Prabhupada said, you want to know me? Then read my books, because everything, these are personal ecstasies of Srila Prabhupada that Kṛṣṇa is dictating. Just phenomenal, amazing. When you hear the depth of each and every purport of Prabhupada's teachings, how much substance and how much depth of understanding is there. We think we can't retain hardly any of it, but just by hearing repeatedly, like I was up in the Himalayas and I saw some stones that were made smooth by the repeated flowing of the water on the stone. It really molded it. So even though we may have stone-like hard-hearted, and we're very dull, very slow in spiritual advancement, by the repeated hearing and chanting, you may think, well, why so much repetition? Why not? You heard it once and you've chanted, so why isn't it awakening that love? Because for a long time, we've been very stubborn, wanting to do it our way, try to find that happiness in this world and independent of Kṛṣṇa. Why? That we'll realize, we will understand. But if you recognize that, yes, I am sick, Srila Prabhupada is my physician, my doctor, and his medicine is Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. The more we hear about Kṛṣṇa, the more we chant about Kṛṣṇa, the more we encourage others to hear and chant about Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa is happy. If Kṛṣṇa is happy with us, all problems solved. So we have a few minutes. Hare Krishna. Anyone have any questions, comments about this mystery of Bhagavad-gītā? Oh, Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the guidance. It's like before I was on Sankirtan for 6 years, and because of health issues and other issues, and now I've just like closed myself into just my sadhana bhakti and serving my deities, serving in the temple and coming. So, is that good or it's not?
Well, we all have to work according to our capacity. We were all also young when we were in our 20s and earlier days. We can go out and, whether it's cold or not cold, rainy or, we figured out every which way. We actually felt guilty. Like I was in New York and it was snowing, and then you would always like where I can find a spot where I can meet people and talk. So we're very, very eager. And now you say you're spending more time for your own hearing and chanting and deity worship. That's also service, setting a good example. First of all, you have to work on yourself in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. But if you're able to, I did book distribution for many years, but the last couple of years, pandemic, we're all locked in, so we're taking advantage of maybe more reading, more chanting, go to kirtan and deal with the difficulties of managing Prabhupada's society so that we can ultimately provide shelter for other people. So everybody is important. The pujari is doing beautiful deity seva, that's preaching. The cook is cooking nice prasad, that's preaching. You may not be on the front line at present. You were on the front line for some time, and that's glorious. Continue supporting the Sankirtan mission by being a good devotee yourself. Do the things you have to do to stay strong. And that in itself is inspiring for the Sankirtan mission. Others will see, oh, there's a nice Vaishnava, Vaishnavi, let me also continue in my devotional practice. So it's okay. Don't worry. Just continue doing. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Again, yesterday verse and today verse, this is mentioned. Ya ekaṁ paramam kubhyam. It is most supreme secret. It is most supreme secret. Why we conduct public class? It is secret.
Yeah. Well, Ramanujacharya, I think his Guru Maharaj told him that I'm giving you a special mantra, but keep it to yourself. And he said, mantra? But the mantra is going to free people. So he decided to go on and pronounce that to everybody. Hey, take this mantra. Because it's secret, because those who are envious, those who are materialistic, they cannot appreciate God consciousness and they commit offenses. So generally, in open assemblies, we don't speak, especially of the more intimate aspects of Kṛṣṇa consciousness, because people think, oh, it's just very ABC, simplistic Kṛṣṇa consciousness, but it's actually very, very deep and very intimate. So confidential, in order to understand what is that love that Kṛṣṇa is giving, what is the reciprocation between the living entity and Kṛṣṇa, or even the Guru, the whole process of surrender is very confidential, because Kṛṣṇa was not going to reveal to Arjuna, but he was his friend, and because he was not envious. So the confidentiality is there only for those who are sincere and really want to have a relationship with Kṛṣṇa. And it's not available for those who are jealous, envious, very beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam described that this teaching is not meant for the jealous and for the envious. So we have to develop the godly qualities in order to appreciate it. So even if one is a great scientist, philosopher, PhD, or whatever classification he might have, whatever title he may have achieved in this world, it's meaningless if they don't have that shraddha, that faith. So confidentiality is there because only devotees can understand. And that's why of course, in open assembly, the rain may come everywhere, but only that place that's fertile can appreciate the rain and then, sprout the seeds, where, the rain is given everywhere. And you think, well, why waste the rain? You just put it there. Yes, but we're giving this is Lord Chaitanya's mercy. He's flooding. He's giving the flood of love of God, giving everyone the opportunity. Even the atheists and agnostics and the jealous, envious, they're also being inundated, even against their will. This is why Kṛṣṇa is known as Namo Mahavadanyaya Kṛṣṇa Prema Pradayate. He's giving special mercy. But still, there are those who are expert in finding those dark corners to not get in the sunlight of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Yes, Prabhu? Then ladies first and then Prabhu. Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. Just I have a little doubt and I want to just clear this out with you. So in text 64 it was written that because you are my dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge. So here Lord Kṛṣṇa used this word confidential knowledge in text 64. So I was just wondering whether Kṛṣṇa is speaking about text 65 and 66 as most confidential or entire Bhagavad-gītā as most confidential?
Yeah, well, the whole Bhagavad-gītā is very confidential, and it goes through, different degrees of intensity of confidentiality. And I think the essence was man manabhav madbhakto madhyaji mang namaskuru, always think of me, become my devotee, offer your prayers to me. And so every word of Srimad Bhagavad-gītā and Bhagavatam is transcendental. But Krishna's showing that in the beginning, the dhyana yoga and karma yoga and action in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, and then perfection of yoga, and then attaining the supreme. So many chapters are there. And as our confidence grows and our faith solidifies, then we're able to appreciate more the confidentiality. It's always available, it's always there. But now he's saying, now I'm giving you more, Arjuna, because you are my friend and you're not envious. And so in the beginning, we sometimes, test you're not the body, your spirit, soul, and human life's meant to surrender to God. So, the general, but that's also absolute. But when you come to the point of dasyaras, madhurya, sakyaras, vatsalyaras, madhuryaras, that the feelings, the emotions, and the mood of surrender is thickened, so then it's more and more confidential, because people, or those who are not pure at heart and who have that envy and jealousy, or on a mundane platform, they cannot appreciate, and they become offensive. So this is confidentiality protects the sanctity of the spiritual relationship that's developing. Something like that.
So this, you took two verses today. So the first verse said that those who explain the secret among the pure devotees, pure devotion service is guaranteed. The next verse says there's no servant more dear to me than he then. So I want to ask, it is said that when you explain to devotees, Lord Kṛṣṇa is saying that when you explain, that person is no more dear to me. He's the most dear to me. So, but we construe it like if we preach all over the world, that servant is most dear to me.
Yes.
I hope you got my...
Yes.
Is it some Acharya saying that you preach all over the world? In some commentary of...
Well, the way I understand it is that those who are coming to devotional service, if we can strengthen their appreciation for Kṛṣṇa and Kṛṣṇa consciousness, and like when one becomes a soldier, you need to train him well, to avoid the pitfalls so he can stay alive in the battlefield. So we're all different degrees and different levels of Kṛṣṇa consciousness in our surrender. So Kṛṣṇa is very happy that if we're training and guiding and enthusing those who are devotees. And he's giving us the precautionary words that, not to preach to those who are envious or non-devotees. But the devotee takes that risk, just like Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur were, they heard about the Jagai Madai, we should give these rascals the Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So, although in face value, we have to be careful that we want to make sure our family is strong, healthy, and we're preaching to them. And then as we ourselves gain strength and feel protected by the message of the Lord, then we want to go out and spread it to all others as well. This is it's a finer aspect of trying to keep it within the devotional family and not encouraging the atheists and those to be offensive. But there are many innocent. There are many people who are innocent and just bewildered by darkness and misled. So the devotee is willing to take that risk on behalf of a spiritual master to go out and give this message of Kṛṣṇa consciousness with the hopes that at least some of the conditioned souls will take up the process. Yeah, I understand your question, but maybe I can't answer it exactly perfectly the way you like to hear it. Yes, you can speak. Why not?
In 3rd chapter, the Lord said, do not waste your time with atheistic people. But Prabhupada ji said that the devotee is more compassionate than the Lord, and he takes the risk.
He takes he takes the risk of being more compassionate. Yes. Just like Kṛṣṇa said, kill Ashvatthama. He's a rascal. Kill him. But Draupadi said, no, we should forgive. And you think, well, how you can defy the Lord's order? But the Lord is also pleased by that. He's sometimes testing. We're also being tested to see where we're really at. Kṛṣṇa is making so many arrangements. But we have a perfect guide, perfect captain, Srila Prabhupada. We have the beautiful breezes of the Vedic literature, for Bhagavad-gītā, Srimad Bhagavatam, so many transcendental literatures, and the boat of association of devotees. So we continue our own practice of Kṛṣṇa consciousness and try to spread the holy name around as best we can. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.